It feels almost a little quiet today after last week's actions and felt like nonstop activity around Warner Brothers Discovery. What's the latest? What's new?
Well, you can be assured it's going to get a little louder later in the week. So today, Netflix comes out and is trying to reassure both employees and Hollywood about their intentions. They're still going to release the Warner Brothers movies in theaters, and they're saying basically to their employees, "Don't worry, we don't have a studio like Warner Brothers, and so that we're not going to be firing people en masse like say Paramount might." That was the implication there, but. Paramount has reiterated its offers. Warner Brothers has 10 days as of last Monday to respond. So everyone anticipates, including Paramount, Warner Brothers to come out and say, we're sticking with Netflix, in which case the ball will be back in Paramount's camp to increase their offer more to try to lure Warner Brothers away from Netflix.
Chris, I'm going to ask you a very general question, and it's going to require you to paint with somewhat of a broad brush, but in general, how does Hollywood view Netflix? And is there a suitor for Warner Brothers Discovery that in general people in Hollywood would rather have?
Not another suitor, no. I think generally Hollywood would be fine with Warner Brothers continuing to remain an independent studio, and there wouldn't be all those mass firings and changes in strategy.
The so-called synergies that we've heard about.
Yeah, I mean, Paramount has said the number could be $6 billion. Now, a lot of that's likely coming from the cable networks that Paramount's acquiring of Warner Brothers, but still a staggering number, twice what Netflix is projecting. So, yeah, I think Hollywood in general would prefer another studio hiring them and greenlighting new movies and all of that thing, rather than Netflix or Paramount.
All right, so is this it? Is there anybody else who could come in? Is there any other configurations that we might get out over this? Because I don't know. It just feels like
there's still, I spoke to Mario Gabelli last week. He still held out hope that Amazon or Apple would come in and make a giant bid at some point.
Well done.
But yeah.
Not Bob Iger or anything?
Definitely not Disney.
Okay.
Would it fit with those more tech-focused companies, Chris, or would it have an easier regulatory path?
Really hard to say. There certainly would be pushback at about big tech company increasing its strength in any way. But neither of those companies, Apple or Amazon, has a studio like Warner Brothers, this beautiful lot in Burbank, and so you could argue that it would be a good fit for one of them.
Hey, the Paramount deal, though, all the financing is there for it. I mean, we've been talking about the hit that Oracle has taken and what that does to the wealth of Larry Ellison, right, who was supposedly backstopping it. So is there any concern that if indeed Paramount, Skydance is the winning bid, that everything's there?
There is concern. We've been hearing from the Warner Brothers side that was one of the issues with rejecting Paramount, that they didn't feel the money was there. And of course, Paramount is saying the opposite. They've fully backstopped by the Ellison family.
How badly does Netflix want this?
Well, that's a question a lot of people have been asking, but I think you have to take the letter today from the co-CEOs at face value and they're still in the game.
It's because shareholders haven't been that supportive of Netflix's bid. I mean, we've seen shares down significantly since Netflix got in on this bidding process, Chris. Like, they're not convinced that this is necessarily a good fit.
Absolutely. I mean, they lost tens of billions of dollars of market value, and the closer Netflix gets to doing a deal, the more the stock seems to fall. If you look at the track record, I've sort of joked that Warner Brothers is like the King Tut's tomb of movie studios. Anybody that acquires it is cursed. And from AOL to AT&T to Discovery, those mergers haven't worked. So there's certainly reason to concern for either bidder.